Joseph Stalin, Douglas Jardine, Robespierre, Darrell Hare, Vladimir Lenin, O'Brien Kevin, Guerilla Cricket.
Good morning, good evening, good dawn or good dusk, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to Guerilla Cricket. My name is Nigel Henderson, Guerilla Hendo on Twitter, and with me to discuss England's chances in India, 0 or worse according to most pundits, are Aditya and Nandan from Holding Willey. Hello, guys.
Hi, how are you? Hi there.
We're not too bad at all, and I've got the inimitable Hoff Bear with me, Nigel Walker, who's going to bring some English sense to the situation, I imagine.
Good day.
Good day to you, Bear. Now, guys, I know that you wrote on your website, Holding Willey, that you didn't really think England had a very good chance in this 5-match series. I would like to draw your attention to George de Bell's intro to his piece, where he says, England are second favourites for the Test series in the way an antelope is second favourite in an encounter with a lion. Now, chaps, is that something you would agree with?
Well, England will certainly need to conjure up something special. I mean, they've got a whole bunch of young players, and they've had a great time in Bangladesh. I can tell you that'll probably help them.
Mm-hmm.
And on top of that, they'll really need to put a good English spin on everything.
That's true.
That's very true. Now, what has been the reaction in India to England's defeat in Bangladesh? I mean, have they just seen England are literally going into the lion's den almost, and the public in India are just waiting for the blood to be let in a way? Is that the prevailing mood over there?
Not really. If you see Bangladesh's performance in the last 1 year or so, they have been completely dominating when they're playing home.
Mm-hmm.
So the only thing this time was they dominated in a test match rather than the one-day series. So when we went there for a one-day series, we lost, I guess, 2-1. And since then, Indians have been completely following Bangladesh. And it's kind of a bit of hate kind of so, because Bangladesh fans are kind of much more aggressive in terms of what they do and how they kind of enjoy it. So the thing was maybe the thing was maybe Indians along with me were kind of hoping for English to win there, but unfortunately they kind of drew this test series. So here in India, like after a 3-0 whitewash against Kiwis, there are some gaps in Indian batting order which are not that right, and if the English are good enough with their spin, maybe they would be able to kind of dominate for a couple of sessions and then they'll be down.
But do you think the way that the England team collapsed on that final day from, 100 odd for no wicket to 164 all out, I mean, did the Indian public look at that and think, oh, this is going to be a walkover for us when we get our spinners going? Because Bangladesh had a very inexperienced spinner, although you probably say that he bowled like a man 20 years older than he is.
Well, he was inexperienced when it comes to first-class cricket. So, he, of course, has been turning heads in Bangladesh. But, who doesn't like a good batting collapse?
No, we love it.
Well, we got used to many of them.
Yeah.
We in India know batting collapses quite well. So it's just having bowlers who can bat as well as, say, Ashwin or Jadeja is quite a new experience for us as well. So it's quite a thing of interest for us.
Now,
and especially considering how deep England bats, this makes a collapse is quite a welcome change.
Yeah, I suppose that's true. I mean, now India is in the middle. In the middle, probably at the outset of an enormous number of Test matches. You've got you had the 3 against New Zealand. You've got 5 against England. Then you've also got Australia coming, I think, in February and March. This seems like a very intense period for Test cricket in India, and we're always being told that no one really supports Test cricket in India. Do you think things are changing back to that people are actually finding more interest in Test cricket than they were maybe a year or two ago?
Well, given that most of the Test cricket recently has ended in results, Having pitches that turn a lot has helped contribute to that compared to the earlier days when 500 or 600 plus scores were the norm. So having outcomes guaranteed has helped. But it's certainly not as much as it was, say, in the 90s.
Right. So you say Test cricket it's still in a slight decline. The interest in it in India still.
Yeah, I suspect that's part of why the schedule has been so densely filled.
Right.
It's just that the bigger the names you get, the more people view it, and hopefully England and Australia will provide for entertaining matches.
Lambs to the slaughter.
Indeed. Well, you've got, I mean, part of this the scheduling means that we've got, I think, 2 new test venues right at the beginning of the series, isn't it? Rajkot and Visakhapatnam. Is that how you pronounce it? Do you think that
No.
Are they going to bring people into the grounds? Do you think? I looked at the capacities of these grounds. They're about 28,000, which is probably around the same capacity as you get in the biggest grounds in England. Are they going to be filled, do you think?
We'll probably have some trouble during the weekdays, especially given that Indian winter is a little bit of an oxymoron.
Right.
Especially in Rajkot and Visakhapatnam. But in both places, I expect that you would see it filled around the 3rd and 4th day for sure.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that? Do you think?
I can only hope the match lasts that long.
Well, that's right. I'm just wondering, would they not have been better off starting the game on a Friday, on the basis that you get 2 weekend days in, and if England do collapse in those 3 days, at least we've had decent crowds at the game. Now let's talk about the intensity of this schedule. I think it's like 5 tests in the best part of 6 weeks. Is that going to be of great benefit to the home side? I saw a piece earlier this week suggesting that it would actually be quite onerous for the home side to have all this travelling around. Do you think that there still is a benefit to the home side here?
The benefit to the home side is mostly, the experience with spin and of, say, Indian heat. Whereas, as far as it's just a question of who does it disadvantage more. You see, the English players, while they have been traveling, England is a little bit smaller than India.
Yeah,
and Cook and Broad are, well, assuming Anderson doesn't get well too quickly. Cook and Broad are people with the most experience of India, whereas even mainstays like Joe Root and Johnny Webster, who are in the form of their life, they've only had about a test each in India before. Whereas Indian players, India also has the luxury of being able to call upon a larger squad. Whereas if anyone from England gets injured, you'll have to fly someone in, and they won't have enough time to get used to the conditions. So that way, I think the home advantage is still there.
Well, that's absolutely right. They'd have to acclimatise, and England haven't had much time to acclimatise because they've only just, they've been in Bangladesh, and I think it was very humid there. I was looking at the weather forecast for Rajkot at the beginning of this week, and although it was forecast to be around 35 degrees during the day, the humidity wasn't incredibly high, which will, I guess, be a relief to England. But I guess the other thing is that because the tests come so quickly, so that they're packed so closely together, that if someone gains an upper hand, it's going to be very difficult for the other team to pull that back, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Now,
it will vary, like you said. The humidity won't be a factor as much in Rajkot, whereas I think we might actually be in danger of some shards in Visakhapatnam.
Okay.
But we'll have to see how that turns out. And you can't tell with momentum. Like the last time England was here, India won the first match, and we all know how that turned out.
Yes, we do.
That's true, but that was a shorter series as well, wasn't it? And and of course we
4 tests.
It's 4 tests. That's true, but it was also when we look back at it, we had 2 spinners performing probably at their best, which helped a lot. Now let's talk about the spinners. Are you of the mind that India will go in with more than Ashwin and Jadeja? Will they look elsewhere as well, or will they try and give a chance to someone like Hardik Pandya?
I guess Amit Mishra will get much of a chance than Hardik Pandya. And I guess Amit Mishra would be the second spinner to watch out for after Ashwin.
Right. Okay. But there's the chance of Ashish Nehra playing a role in this series. Do you think? He didn't play in the New Zealand series, did he? But he was out in the West Indies. Do you think that India are so confident in the abilities of Ashwin and Jadeja that they won't need to go with anyone else?
Well, no. There's a reason they've included Amit Mishra and Jayant Yadav in the squad. Having a leg spinner on a turning wicket is always an advantage. So that's why Amit Mishra is there. And just in case India feel insecure about their batting, Jayant Yadav can provide a bit of batting in addition to off spin. So we suspect it will probably be an attack of 3 spinners and two seam bowlers.
Right. And who do you think will get the nod as the seam bowlers? I mean, you've got Mohammed Shami, you've got Umesh Yadav,
Bhuvanesh Kumar?
No, Kumar's been left out, hasn't he? He's not in the squad. Ishant Sharma's, I think, back in the reckoning as well. Who were the 2 that you would go with?
Bhuvanesh has been left out because he's recovered from an injury, but they want him to play one first-class game before he gets back to the test squad. So it'll probably be Shami, and Kohli has quite a bit of faith in Umesh Yadav. So
he's always impressed me, Yadav. Actually, I've always thought he hits the deck hard, as they say. He's a good competitor.
Sorry?
He's a good competitor, Yadav, I think.
Yeah, I mean he's not the most economical bowler, but again he's essentially used as a strike bowler.
Yeah, so short spells, just let him go.
Yeah.
Can I ask, will they do a similar thing to Bangladesh? Will they maybe open the bowling with spin, or will it literally be sort of 4 overs, get the varnish off the ball and then hand it to Ashwin and Jadeja?
If the series were against New Zealand was anything to go by, we'll probably have a little bit. We'll probably let Yadav and Shami go at it for about 4 to 8 overs. If nothing else, then just to see what they can get out of the surface. Because if you remember, Yadav at least surprised quite a few people with the wickets he claimed against New Zealand. And in the second test against New Zealand, most of the wickets were taken by a seamer. So we shouldn't count.
So what would you... I mean, that is an interesting point, I think, because I think everyone was shocked that a debutant would come on and open the bowling, not just a spinner in Bangladesh, but actually someone playing his first game.
Yeah.
But what is it that England can do as batsmen to actually nullify the effects of someone like Ashwin, or not say nullify? I'm not sure you can do that, but mitigate against him. What is the best way to play Ashwin in India?
So far, no one's really found a foolproof method since he got into form. But everyone talks about the basics about coming to the pitch of the ball. So what Ashwin does most often, especially to left-handers, which will be relevant to England, is that he defeats them in flight. He tosses the ball up, but he manages to get enough revs on it that the ball dips just in front of the left-hander. So having, say, a good forward stride would be important. Though again, that brings in the danger of being stumped. So I would say that coming ahead to the ball would take out a major part of Ashwin's arsenal.
I suppose also the difficulty is that we see so many more LBWs now because of DRS, which we'll come on to in a moment. And I take Alistair Cook back to the second innings in the second test in Bangladesh, and he survived 2 very close LBW appeals which went to review. And then he found himself in an attempt to avoid that fate again. He was getting his bat right out in front of his front leg. And of course, that brings its own dangers, where in the end he prodded a little catch to silly mid-off. So with DRS, and DRS I think is being used for the first time in a test in India in this series, things are going to be kind of very difficult for batsmen, aren't they?
Probably yes. But one thing which might favor the English is if they stick along. If they have 100 for no loss, maybe 100 for one, because I guess that if England score around 100 for no loss or 100 for one, I guess they're better playing that and defending and having that score on board, because that might lose quite a bit for Indian bowlers. As they would have already used Ashwin by that time, and as well as Jadeja. So once they lose that, it's a good way to go ahead and kind of around 50 for 2 or 50 for 3 or something like that. So from my point of view, I guess the only best solution for... Yeah, so I was saying that the only solution which I think personally is if England stick to the wicket for maybe 100 for no loss or 100 for one, it's a better way to get match on hold than losing on the wickets. No. Because once you lose two Indian bowlers, it can really kill you.
Now let's turn to this use of the DRS. It's the first time it's been used in India for a Test match, and we know that there's been for a long while India as a nation or as a board have been against using DRS. How is the introduction for this series? How is that being viewed in India now by the cricket lovers?
Well, you've got your hardcore anti-DRS and your hardcore pro-DRS, but the general majority, which doesn't feel too strongly, I feel that DRS is another way to make things more interesting in the game.
Right.
Especially now that it's with the recent ruling, with the recent 25% ruling, it favors bowlers more, which we've seen in the recent increase in LBW DRS being given. So people will be quite. I think the majority would be slightly in favor of DRS because, again, it's new. They've seen it happen in other things, and India doesn't have it. DRS is still new for India.
Yeah. And
the novelty alone, and the novelty of having DRS after watching other nations play with DRS will be enough to be pro-DRS, to keep the Indian public pro-DRS for at least the first 3 tests, I would think.
Well, surely this is going to actually create maybe where if interest has dropped off in Test cricket, do you think this has the potential to create interest? Because there will obviously be a lot of coverage of controversial decisions in the papers and in the media in general.
The thing is, DRS is not just restricted to Test cricket. So the DRS thing will be extended to the ODI series. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't Test cricket per se. It's in the due to the influence of DRS, perhaps there may be a little bit of an increase in interest in Test cricket, but otherwise it will be largely down to the cricket, to the entertainment factor of the cricket itself.
Okay, well, the other thing I wanted to ask you about was that the only thing that I'm getting out of India in terms of fear of the England team is really that the England team bat a hell of a long way down, and that may give them something of an advantage. And also looking at the Indian team, you've lost, I think, 3 potential openers to injury, and it looks like you're going to end up with Murali Vijay, who didn't have the best of series against New Zealand compared with some of the other batsmen, and the return of Gautam Gambhir. Do you have a little bit of a fear about the very top order? You've got a very strong middle order, but at the top, are you a little bit worried?
Yeah, I mean, like these days, or rather ever since Sehwag, everyone wants an opener who can fit the Sehwag or nowadays David Warner kind of mold.
Yeah.
And earlier that was Shikhar Dhawan, now that's KL Rahul. Now that both of them are gone, India is feeling a little bit antsy. So again, you see this is reflected in the way England picked Duckett to open in Bangladesh ahead of Hamid. But Murali Vijay has been one of India's most consistent batsmen in the past 5 years. So it's unlikely that he's going to, perhaps this series will define whether he will stay in the team or be dropped for a more regular opener. But otherwise, the problem has always been India's batting depth. Mm-hmm. which is why there was always a question of playing 4 bowlers versus 5 bowlers, and why in fact Hardik Pandya has a chance as an all-rounder.
Now you bring up the question of Hamid, and of course we were quite surprised in England to see that having been picked, he didn't actually get a go in Bangladesh. And I think you're absolutely right. That was because there is this desire to have someone at the top, especially with someone like Cook, who's relatively slow in his accumulation of runs. Is so strong. Can you see? I mean, I don't know what reports you're getting in India, but is the general thought amongst the media that Hamid might now get his chance in the England side to open with Cook, and they might put Duckett down in the middle order? Is anything come out in India about that?
Not much different than what you've already seen. I mean, the standard stuff of out with balance, in with Duckett, up with Hamid. Mm-hmm. But again, the main thing in India, we're not that worried about Cook's partner as we are about Cook.
Oh, right. Okay, that's interesting. Yes.
Because again, Cook has had 2 truly great series as an opener, and one was against Australia, mm-hmm. and the other was in India. And Cook loves India. I mean, he averages over 55 against us compared to his regular average of about 46. So Cook is our main worry. Mm-hmm. And to be quite frank, the prevailing opinion seems to be that England have had a lot of trouble with their top order, and we don't see that stopping with with the new batsman unless Hamid pulls something the way Sami Aslam did against England.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Now that would be nice. Actually, we'd absolutely love to see that. Sorry, Bear, go on. You had a question.
Oh no, I wanted to go completely off topic actually, and I wanted to ask about this the Loader Committee and what's going on there. Has that been all sorted, or is it still an ongoing problem?
No, it's still going on. It's complete chaos.
So. As it stands, England are still going to have to pay all their travelling costs, etc., etc.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
That is the case as it stands, because, again, the infighting and politics that turns up inevitably around BCCI has led to, unfortunately, the England series being used as a sort of pawn in this matter.
Has it been a sort of feel? I noticed a couple of people reading sort of below the line on Cricinfo that there was a certain amount of embarrassment amongst the Indian public about this situation. I mean, is that the way you see it, or I mean, have you become so used to problems within the BCCI that you just see it as another thing that will eventually get sorted out?
Just because it's another problem doesn't mean it stops being embarrassing.
Right.
And the constant thing of the BCCI is a bit of an embarrassment to a lot of Indian fans. And, here's a chance for reform, but they're fighting tooth and nail. But, you just have, again, the Indian fans don't have that much of a say in it.
No, I suppose that's true. I mean, fans around the world don't have much say in what goes on in cricket governance these days. Anyway, thanks very much for giving us your time, Aditya. We're just going to close. I'm going to close and ask you to make a prediction, because I just want to see ultimately how confident you are and how worried we should be. What would you say will be the outcome of this series? Are you seeing a whitewash from India, or do you think it'll be much closer than that? Can you put a figure on it?
We've got 3 possibilities. We've got 3-2, 2-1, or 3-0.
3-2, 3-2, 2-1. So you think there's a capacity for a couple of draws in there, or is that more down to potential weather, or is that you think England will push India that much closer?
Little bit of thing of the weather. Like for example, Visakhapatnam, there's not much going on right now, but we suspect that maybe a bit of the weather. But honestly, we just think that England has the capacity to bat out a draw.
Really?
I have to say, you're more confident than we are of England's ability.
We sat up through the night to watch them against Bangladesh, and I tell you, that collapse, I don't know if you actually saw it live, it was quite worrying from our point of view, wasn't it?
Mistake. And say 7 batting collapses versus 3 brave fights.
Well, that's something to look forward to.
Yeah. I mean, I think we'll win one because we'll get lucky.
You really think so?
Yeah, I do think we'll win one because we'll get lucky. But I do think the inexperience will show up, and there will be a lot of batting collapses, which could be entertaining.
Well, it will be entertaining. I'm sure it'll be entertaining. Well, thanks, Jadeja, for joining us. It's been an absolute pleasure to talk to you and get an Indian perspective on the series, and maybe give us a little bit more hope than we managed to sort of create within ourselves. We will be doing a quiz with you as the series progresses, won't we? So we'll have a lot of contact with you, and we'll be talking to you hopefully at various times during the series and getting your perspective as it progresses.
Surely.
Great. Thanks very much. Cheers.
Joseph Stalin.